You hear a lot of different opinions on what the Rolls-Royce cut of beef is. For me, this is it. It's a bone-in ribeye. It's huge. Great to split for two people. For me, this is my perfect date night food. If I have somebody coming over and I want to impress them, this allows me to A, impress them, and B, gives me enough time to do some other things where I don't have to like fiddle with it too much. So this is a 36-ounce bone-in ribeye. We serve this at my restaurant, Duck Duck Goose. It is the Côte de Boeuf. Really simple here. I'm just gonna clean up the bone a little bit. I'm gonna tie it off so it cooks evenly. I'm gonna walk you guys through every single step of that. First thing I did is I took this thing out of the fridge probably about an hour and a half ago, let it come up to room temperature. Everybody's gonna say, oh, well, isn't gonna go bad if you leave it out for that long? No, it's not gonna go bad. They've dry aged this thing anyway. It's not gonna go bad. I'm not telling you to leave it out for a week, but if you leave it out for 4 or 5 hours, you're gonna get consistent temperature through and through. It's gonna be easier for you to reach that nice medium rare that you want and get that wall-to-wall red. To clean up this bone, very simply, I'm just gonna use my knife and scrape back some of this fat. This makes for a nice, cleaner presentation, I think. You don't have to do this. You can leave it on there, give it to your dog will gnaw on it, and he'll be a happy fucking camper. So I've cleaned up the bone. Grab a little bit of butcher's twine. You can get this at your grocery store. Cut off however much you think you're gonna need. I'm going to go over the bone, over and over. So I'm using the bone as my brace. Then I'm gonna come around and wrap it nice and tight. Tight like a tiger. Tight pants. Why am I doing this? If I keep it nice and tight, it'll cook evenly. I won't have bits of it that are medium well and bits of it that are medium rare, so that's why I'm tying it up. And also, look at how pretty that looks. Right? Before it looked like it was wearing sweatpants, now it's wearing a little black dress. Also, it's really important, don't forget to take it off. It happens all the time. Steak goes out in a restaurant, comes right back to the kitchen, you forgot to take the string off. I'm not a yeller, but whenever that happens in my restaurant, I fucking scream. So our steak is tempered and tied. We are going to season it very heavily. You're gonna lose 30–40% of your seasoning inside the pan. So, good pinch of salt. Flip it over, good pinch of salt. Now I'm gonna open up the grind on my pepper mill a little bit because I want it to be a little bit more coarse. I like those little like nuggets of super peppery, fatty meat. And I'm gonna season around the steak a little bit too. Got some canola oil here. Super hot pan. So you're wondering why it's seasoned around the outside of the steak? I'm gonna take the steak and I'm gonna roll it around in all this seasoning. Mop it all up. Now, into a very hot pan. Guys, if that is not the reaction that you get when you drop your steak, you're doing it wrong. As this is going, I can see my crust starting to form. I'll pick it up to show you guys here. See that beautiful reddish kind of color that we're getting? That's what I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this. And I want that same color on the other side. I want that nice crust on there. And there's a big difference between burnt and seared. A lot of people think that, oh, well, to sear it, all I gotta do is just blacken the shit out of it. No, that's not the case. Not for me, at least. For me, I want that nice, like amber, almost dark brown, amberish color that happens right before it burns. For me, that's sexy. That's what I want to see in a steak. That means somebody loved it, somebody cared about it. And that's really what you want to do with a piece of meat like this. I mean, the farmer cared about the cow, the butcher cared to get it to you the way he got it to you. You're hopefully serving it to somebody that you love. It could be as simple as yourself, but really, really take the time. Yeah, there's no rushing this, just time and patience. Now it's time for the fun part. This is what sets apart, in my opinion, a $65 steak from an $85 steak. So I have here some butter. I'm gonna turn the heat down just a little bit, about medium high. I'm gonna add in this butter. And this butter is gonna go nut brown and it's really gonna bring out the fattiness. This is where the real kind of sex of a steak comes in. So this is where all I'm thinking about is flavor. How do I accentuate the fat in the steak, the salt, the pepper, the meatiness of it? So for me, it's simple. It's thyme, some parsley. I want the stems on purpose, some fresh bay leaves. And now I'm just gonna start rolling this around. Very important ingredient, which I have forgotten, is garlic. So I'm gonna grab a whole bulb of garlic. I don't wanna fiddle with kind of cut it up or make it smaller, because it's gonna be cooking for a while, so I wanna give this a chance to not burn. So all I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna slice it in half along its equator. I'm gonna take the big half and put that down inside the butter. Give it a little shake, make sure everybody's happy and working. And guys, this is gonna go into a 500-degree oven for about 12 minutes, and then we're gonna rest it. Look at that lovely piece of meat. We've treated this right, we've seasoned it right, we seared it well, we put it in the oven. We've let it out of the oven and we've let it rest for about as long as we had it in the oven for. So that's a good rule of thumb. I'm going to undo the thread. Don't want to serve anyone string. A lot of times people will be like, oh, what if it goes cold or whatever? It's not going to go cold. A lot of heat built up in the middle of that steak. So it's not going to go cold on you. You have to rest it. Otherwise, if you don't rest it, as soon as you go to cut into it, it's going to piss all over your plate and the juiciness, the meatiness of your steak is going to be lost. I'm going to come down the bone. Save that for the pups. They'll be glad you did. And make sure we try to cut against the grain here. If somebody wants to step it up in the kitchen, my best advice to them is, it's just practice, practice, practice. Just like if you were trying to up your basketball game or up your football game or up your tennis game or your golf game. Practice makes perfect. Cooking is kind of athletic in my opinion. It's a lot of muscle memory. It's a lot of just, learn by doing. There's really no shortcuts. You just gotta kind of do it to it. So this little end piece with all the fat in it is one that I like to save for myself. So you guys, that's a perfect pink. You can have it a little bit less done. You can have it a little bit more done. For me, this is perfect. I think it renders out the fat. Has good chew to the meat. The meat is nice and warm in the middle. I'm pretty happy with that. The only thing that's gonna make this steak any better is some roasted garlic compound butter. Do I have any roasted garlic compound butter? Funny you should ask. I do have some roasted garlic compound butter right here. So I'm going to cut off a nice wedge, unwrap it. See my roasted garlic in there, my parsley, little bits of shallot. I'm gonna lay that on top and just let that melt.